police are not commenting on a motive tonight, but police and city leaders are aware of the widespread comments that began circulating in the community on social media shortly after the shooting, suggesting that it may have been in some way racially motivated. That's the question for a lot of people this evening, people who are searching for answers, and so we asked Mayor Tom Barrett about those concerns. Mayor, can you address the widespread comments about a possible racial motive here?
Right now there's an investigation going on. I think it's premature to speculate on anything. I think this is the time to, again, be there to grieve and to support the families. I'm sure there'll be time in the future to talk about many things involving this investigation.
Now, there are still a lot of questions and a number of things that authorities have not yet confirmed. Here's what 12 News has learned so far. Police just confirming that the shooter is identified as 51-year-old Anthony Ferrill of Milwaukee, an electrician at the Miller Brewery. Sources also tell us that Ferrill had 2 handguns with him during the shooting, including one with a silencer. The Journal Sentinel is citing sources who indicate that Ferrill had a long-running dispute with at least one co-worker, and neighbors tell 12 News that Ferrill at one point believed the company was spying on him. And again, police are not commenting on a motive for the shooting.
And Ken, did police say where their investigation stands or what's next? They have so much ground to cover.
Yeah, they do, and no, they're not commenting other than to say the investigation is ongoing. We know that they're focused on Ferrill's background and the search of his home, but the public focus for police, for city leaders, and for everyone connected to the Molson Coors community right now is on the victims and the families of those men who lost their lives in the shooting.
And that investigation continues. Ken Wainscott live at police headquarters.
We are learning more about the shooter, Anthony Ferrill. Our cameras captured police removing items from his house today.
12 News' Derek Rose is live outside the house. And Derek, you talked to people who knew Ferrill and worked with him. How do they describe him?
Well, they describe him as a hard-working family man. You know, you mentioned police being here at Anthony Ferrill's home all night into today. At some points, as you showed there, they were moving a lot of evidence from this home. But people who live in this community find it very hard to believe it was their neighbor who could open fire on 5 co-workers. The person they described to me as knowing is someone who was a family man, who was hardworking, but was working in an extremely uncomfortable environment. At Anthony Ferrill's home Thursday, 12 News cameras were there as investigators pulled a tub full of evidence covered in brown wrapping out the side door, hoping to explain more about the deadly shooting at Molson Coors. But people who tell us they knew the 51-year-old claim he's not the type of person they thought would carry out a mass shooting.
Yeah, I would have expected him to be someone, to do that.
This woman who asked not to be identified claims she worked with Ferrill for 3 years.
Hardworking, problem-solving, good person.
But there was one problem the woman told us could not be solved.
A lot of racial things there that shouldn't go on there.
What kinds of things?
People would openly say the N-word in front of me. Was incidents where we had a work meeting and somebody, put a noose in the bathroom there and, said something and, no one should have to deal with that.
She told me she addressed the problems with the offenders directly but regrets not going to management.
But I said it for myself, you know what I mean? You're not going to do that around me. Plain and simple. That's how you feel, that's how you feel. Some people wouldn't talk to me, after that.
Neither Milwaukee police, the FBI, or Molson Coors will respond directly to the allegations of a toxic racial environment. And back in Ferrill's neighborhood, growing disbelief about the investigation still unfolding.
So I never thought he would do anything like this. So, like I said to the kids, he maybe something went wrong that triggered him that way.
Derek, do you have any indication whether Ferrill filed any complaints?
No indication of that just yet, Patrick. No response from Molson Coors. That former co-worker said she talked to the people who she heard using the N-word directly, but says she did not go to management. We also reached out to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the agency which handles and investigates workplace discrimination. Spokesperson with the EEOC said they could not confirm or deny the existence of an investigation related to Anthony Ferrill or Molson Coors, and they said at least we checked court records and there were no lawsuits filed by the EEOC on behalf of Anthony Ferrill.
I'm pretty much done with everybody's hypocrisy at this point. But, nevertheless, what's going on, guys? Before I get to the topic at hand, and this is going to be kind of ironic, I want to let you know about the video, which is in the link in the description box. This is a video I did about a month and a half ago. It is exclusive, I believe, to FS Avenger because of the graphic, vulgar title, which includes racial epithets in the title of the video. I couldn't show the title, but this is basically a video that I've been looking to release and share with you guys for a while, because it's a peculiar case. It's not something that we haven't, a variation of something that we haven't seen before, but it is something that I believed I needed to address in regards to the sheer hypocrisy of these pro-blacks, and in this specific case, the Black American female, who have the nerve of saying that they are tired of racism and accusing people of discriminating against them, yet pretty much what they're doing is feeding the very individuals and the very organizations that they claim are discriminating against them and being racist against them. Okay? And we know the different ways that they do that. But it is only when, and this is especially true of the Black American female, but it's also true of a lot of y'all, a lot of you Negroes as well. It is only when a lot of these Negroes get their N-word wake-up call do they want to yell racism. Okay? And this was a story that fit that narrative of this just overweight, nasty-looking black, well, for the sake of just being screw tube, this just disgusting looking black female who went off as black women do because this Arab liquor store or corner store owner called her or someone she was with, I believe a child, the N-word. And she went completely nuts. And she didn't just go off on the Arabs in the store. She went off on the rest of the black people inside the store. And she called herself confronting the black people in the store, accusing them of supporting this Arab liquor store that was obviously racist against black people because of, the insults that they used in this particular case. And I first saw this video, some of you may have seen it on Facebook, and it completely baffled me because I'm thinking to myself, okay, number one, I'm pretty sure this is not her first time inside of this store. Okay, she looks like one of those females that, come from around the way, and, they've been in the hood for years, maybe decades. Okay, this isn't her first time going in this Arab liquor store, more than likely. It's not her first time going in an Arab liquor store, period. Okay, it's not her first time hearing these Arabs talk to and treat black people certain types of ways. But it's just like you Negroes that got butthurt about Deontay Wilder. Only when they direct it at her like that in that Madison Amelia case, where her boyfriend went off on her and called her the N-word and told her to go back to Africa. It's only when they go off on you, it's only when they show their true colors at you or someone that you care about, now all of a sudden, let's sound the red alert. Now all of a sudden, it's a big deal. Now all of a sudden, oh, how dare they? When the truth of the matter is, you likely knew they were like this all along. And other content creators have said the same thing. So now why all of a sudden should I jump out in a Black Lives Matter shirt and start marching? Because they hurt your feelings? Oh, but when they were referring to black men as this, that, and the other, and the N-word, you didn't have any problem with it. Because I know this is not the way you are casually in the store. I know that you didn't just stop, you didn't just get off the highway, decide to randomly stop in some fucking liquor store in the middle of the ghetto. And I believe this happened in New Orleans, if memory serves me correctly. But you'll see, I have all the details in the video. And now all of a sudden, you just randomly walked in here and Shazam, surprise, there's a bunch of racist Arabs in there that don't like black folks, but they're selling crap, second-rate goods to black folks. Oh, what a surprise. So anyway, I just exposed the hypocrisy. I really need to do a better job at summarizing, because I just give shit away. But the commentary is much more hardcore, and it's much more extensive and detailed, both visually and audibly. Link is in the description box and also down in the pinned post. Make sure you go check that out. Now, of course, I know some of you heard what happened a couple of days ago at the Molson Coors facility. They are now the corporate headquarter. They're now the corporate headquarter for Miller Coors, and better known as Miller Brewing Company, or for those of you who are slow, the brewing company that produces Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Light Beer. I don't drink beer, so, I'm not that familiar with it, but I think by now Miller, like Budweiser, pretty much they're like Pepsi and Coca-Cola. They're household names, so everybody knows when they hear Miller, they know, or Miller Time, you're talking about the beer the famous beer company that survived the Prohibition era. Subject for another video. So I had heard that they had another one of these active shooter incidents where some guy, he lost his job and he came back for revenge and started murdering people, showing the world his anger, getting his revenge. What I didn't know until last night was that the shooter was black and all of his victims were white. Well, one was a white Hispanic and one was a white Jew, but for obvious reasons, they were all white males. And that could just be a coincidence. It could be that he had beef with some or all of these gentlemen, though usually we know historically when it comes to active shooter and mass shooting type of incidents, the victims, even if the killer has a hit list of people that they target, very seldom do they get the people that are on some type of hit list. Usually the people they target are random. In this case, I'm not so sure of that. Because as you heard in the intro, there was talk of racism going on in this plant. And what I find interesting is that almost every time, and I don't know if the media does this more or if it's actually true, but seems like every time, the handful of times that black men snap and shoot places up, it's always connected to some, type of racially motivated revenge attack. Now, in some cases, that has been proven true. In other cases, I think it's just, a lot of media hoopla. However, judging from my experiences in the work farce, as I call it, many people call it the workforce. I call it the work farce. Prior to, starting and running my own business, even though I am kind of reevaluating for financial purposes, the way I'm doing things, um, judging from my own personal experiences, I will tell you that yes, racism does exist in the workplace. However, it is not as extreme from what I've experienced as people say it is. The main issues that I have are that I had were just people being stupid in general, whether they be white females. Matter of fact, I will say that the most problem that I've had with anybody in the work farce were not even white men. They were white women. Yeah, for all you Negroes that love and put white women on a pedestal, this is why I've said for the last half a decade, okay? You Negroes always talking about white women, get you a white woman, get you a Becky, all this crap. Y'all clearly don't know enough white women to know what the fuck you're talking about. You clearly don't, okay? Because if you run into the wrong white bimbo, you're going to have, especially in the workplace, you're going to have the same problems, if not worse, than one of these black females. Okay, that's why I say stay away from all of these hoes. But, you grown man, you free to do what you want. But anyway, the most problems that I've had in the workplace have been with white females. Okay. And the problem wasn't so much racially motivated, or maybe it indirectly was. Like she felt she could tell me what to do because she's a white woman and I'm a black man. I don't know. But for some reason, from my experience, okay, now, generally in life, my biggest problem have been black females. I don't take that away from them. But on the job, I'm telling you, it's been white women. And this attitude that I've noticed a consistency of is that they seem to think that they and this kind of breathes life into the understanding of why feminism emanated from them. But they seem to have this attitude that they are in a supervisory or leadership position to tell someone what to do when they are on the same level. They're of the same rank as that person that they're trying to boss around and bully. Okay? And, of course, you have to be careful with the way you respond to them. Now, I've snapped on quite a few white females on the job, okay? And I had to check them. I had to put them in their place. Be like, hey, mind your own business. I'll do it when I get damn well ready. Go over there and do your job. Let me do mine. Leave me the fuck alone. I've had to report some of them. They have this real bad thing that they're going to force themselves into a position. I remember I was working a security gig, and the supervisors got so tired of this one female, they redirected her from the security gate where she was working over to the security gate where me and mostly a bunch of other dudes that work for the company were working. And she gave us hell. It's like they just pawned her off on us because I guess they were too scared to fire her because, she was connected to somebody in the company, but they didn't want to be bothered with her. So that's been my experience. Not so much racism, just, and this contributed to why I left the work farce. It wasn't the only reason, but one of the main reasons why I left the work farce is because, unfortunately, and I've said this even about stupid people who, get murdered and, they cause their own demise, and then the person who murdered them, they go on trial for murder. And I said, in our society, unfortunately, even dumb motherfuckers have rights. Well, the same can be said of earning a living, okay? Even stupid motherfuckers that seem like they live to make other people's lives difficult. They have personality disorders. Sometimes it could be spawned from stuff they had in their childhood. Sometimes they're just a bad seed. But even stupid motherfuckers need to make a living too. And unfortunately, what happens, especially in these industrial jobs, okay, and that's why, this new tech industry, creating all these rideshare jobs, giving people the opportunity to become, entrepreneurs, and stuff of that nature. It's a market that is expanding so rapidly, because the truth of the matter is people are about as sick and tired of working these workforce jobs under one roof, where you're clammed into a job barely making ends meet with motherfuckers that you don't want to be bothered with, that you can't stand, as they are, these political fuckheads in Washington D.C. that only get in your face every 4 years when they want to vote from you. Okay, people are sick and tired of that. That's why they're just trying to go out on their own and do their own thing. I mean, they're working hustle jobs like they're full-time fucking jobs nowadays. It's fucking crazy. But my experience personally is, yes, I've had racist things happen, but for the most part, what I've learned is that when you put a bunch of people under one roof, it don't matter what type of job you're talking about, but especially in these industrial jobs, light industrial, factory, plant production, assembly line. It doesn't, you could be talking about restaurant, retail, whatever. Okay, even fucking car dealership. What you're doing is you're bringing so many different walks of life, and you're putting them in this tiny jar, okay? And you're using them to, keep this machine of profit making, well oiled and turning for your company. But what you're not factoring in is that because there's so many different walks of life, you're going to have different personality disorders. You're going to have different characters. You're going to have, different traits, different shortcomings, different flaws, different thoughts and feelings about, other groups of people and just people in general. You're going to be bringing all of this, because each individual person is a universe in and of themselves, whether that's a universe that bears more good things than bad, or a universe that bears more bad things than good. Okay, you have some people who think it's okay on the workforce to physically bully people. I've had that, and that was a black guy. That was one of my black supervisors. He put his hands on me and a couple other people. Eventually, he got fired, but that was well after I left the organization I was working for. He thought it was okay to put his hands on people and yell at people and threaten people. He was literally doing this. I'll never forget him, Fred Gill. And I put my hands on that motherfucker back. He started laughing like that shit was funny. I was ready to knock that dude's head off. Okay? So and you would think, why would this dude jeopardize his job? Probably because he does his wife and girlfriend the same way. He was a bully in school. And that kind of goes back to what I say about cops. Yes, there are many asshole cops. I've met some of them. Okay? But having a gun and a badge does not, just automatically certify you as an asshole. Because I've met many people, including bus drivers, that are assholes who don't have guns and badges. The fact, and this contributes also to why I withdrew, inward, and just kind of, I'm just doing my own thing now. Just kind of staying away from motherfuckers. Because I realize anytime you're around people, especially in the physical, like, see, when y'all get on my fucking nerves, see, this is what I love about the internet. When y'all get on my fucking nerves, when y'all irritate me, when y'all aggravate me, I can just press a button, block you. Press a button, delete you. Never have to see or hear from you again unless you make some sock puppet account. I can just turn my phone off, turn my computer off, go to another website. I don't have to. You irritating me is only to the extent that I allow you to get on my fucking nerves. Okay? I do not have to deal with you at all. Unfortunately, in the physical workplace, in physical school, on these streets, in, intimate relationships that people have, it's not that simple to get rid of people who are, a thorn in your side. Okay? This is what caused me to, one of the things that caused me to adopt the Marlboro Man mindset, is that understanding that no one is going to treat me as fairly. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be people that I can't be cool with or friendly with. But no one is going to treat me as fairly as I'm going to treat myself. Okay? No one is going to give me as much of a break as I'm going to give myself. No one is going to give me peace as much as I'm going to give myself. Okay? I've had people that have been super nice to me, super polite to me, and those are the people that you really have to watch out for. People that are super friendly, that other side, I've noticed people like that, that other side of them is almost serial killerishly aggressive. It's almost scary. It's like when Jim Carrey or Robin Williams, a funny comedian, they play a fiend, like a monster or a killer in a movie or something. Like there's another side to that super niceness that when you see it, it's almost frightening. I've had people like that in my life where one moment, like buddy pals, arm around me. The next moment, they're in my face, super aggressive looking for a fight. So I realize you can't 100% trust anyone. That's number one. Number two, you can't really have things the way you want them unless you isolate yourself into a bubble that only you can control. Okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people, and I believe this brother, Anthony Ferrill, who shot up the Miller Brewery a couple of days ago, was one of these type of people where you just don't understand that no matter how hard you work, no matter what you do, okay, there's always going to be people on this wretched earth that make your life difficult, okay? Do I think that this, because, everybody's saying that they're shocked, that this, there were rumors going around that it was, some white guy that did it. But when it was found out that it was this guy, everybody was shocked. They said this guy was a quiet, hard-working family man. He had some things in his past that, like in 1991, he pointed a gun at some white people that were fucking with him. After they came up to a red light that he had stopped at, and they were fucking with him, and he pulled a gun, and they tried to get him in trouble. The charges were dropped, and then in 1995, he punched this woman in the mouth that was, he was in some type of brief relationship with. She was fucking with him. Those charges were dropped. He seemed to be a brother that was, he was troubled because he was trying to figure out life like the rest of us. Only, unlike me and some other, and a lot of other people, he just didn't have the ability to let things go, or just kind of bite his tongue the way a lot of us did. And I'm sure he bit his tongue many times, okay? But I've even said in recent time that, there's just only, I said that after that gunman in Thailand went off and started shooting people up, he shot up his military base, then he shot up a mall, and I mean, there's only so much abuse that some people can take, before they wind up trying to hurt themselves or they wind up trying to hurt somebody else. I'm not there. I don't know. But I mean, yeah, there probably was racism there, but I don't even think it was just racism. I think it was just the everyday struggle of trying to earn dollars and then having to go in and being told, you're not working hard enough, you're not meeting the quotas, you're going to back and forth to the break room, people whispering shit behind your back, saying little slick things to you, bumping your shoulders, they walk past, giving you dirty looks, all that shit just over the years, because they said this brother, he worked as an electrician for 17 years in Miller Brewery and 20 years total as an electrician, which I believe is a union job. I mean, you're talking 17 to 20 years of little stuff. I mean, eventually that shit is going to accumulate. And what usually winds up happening, especially with us black men, because we don't take very good care of our health, is eventually we wind up dying of strokes, dying of heart attacks, before our 60th birthday, not living to see the average life expectancy, developing heart disease, stuff like that. Okay. Usually we take a lot of that stuff in, and, I'm concerned with my own personal health with that, because I especially after that incident that I had with that white boy, and being interrogated by the police. you know I've had a lot of anxiety about staying away from people, not speaking up for myself out of fear, not of what they might do, but out of, if they do something and then I react a certain way, where could this land me? you know so somebody cuts me off in traffic, somebody flips me off, somebody says something slick to me, um in a restaurant, or as I'm going along with my day, I'm more likely not to respond to it, but it still bothers me. It still affects me on the inside. It still makes me angry. It still enrages me. But I have to live with that, you know. And it's not like, because your body is a storage tank, it's not like that shit just goes anywhere. Okay? It stays with you. It stays inside your brain drum. And it eats at you and eats at you every day. And then to make it worse, you don't just have that, more comes on top of it. You get more piled on top of it. Okay? Like when that fucking thought nurse in that nursing home I told y'all about called herself confronting me because I didn't say hi to her mangy, irrelevant ass. Right? And she gonna call herself telling me off in the hallway. Yeah, I reported her, but I was angry, not just at her, but I was upset with myself for not telling her to fuck off. I didn't tell her to fuck off because I knew if she looked ignorant and ghetto, if I'd have done that, she might have, tried something, and then I would have had to unleash Rambo. And if I unleash Rambo, then, that's not going to be good. I'm going to be on the 10 o'clock news. So, really, I think that the whole racism thing, yes, it does exist, but I think it's overrated by the news media. At least in the sense that it's put at the forefront unfairly above, really just the fact that humanity is flawed and people are tough to deal with. Okay? They will make you angry, they will disrespect you. They don't like it when people are making them angry or disrespecting them. But some people are worse at it than others, but everybody gets around to it, just making your life difficult, because people, it seems like they can't. I guess that's where Negroes get so confused. I guess that's where Negroes get so fucking confused with me, where people cannot stand to be with one another. They can't stand to tolerate each other, but they act like they can't live without each other. So humanity in life is very complex, and I just feel like it's less complex if I just, stay to myself, and the only real, consistent connection I have with mankind is through a fucking digital computer or phone screen. I don't want nobody getting too close to me anymore. I just don't. This little Puerto Rican chick was trying to talk to me the other day, but it was clear she was, trying to use me to get what she wanted. I'm just like, man, whatever. I just, we just stopped talking. Once she realized she wasn't gonna get what, something that she wanted out of me, we just stopped talking. I was cool with it. I didn't follow up with that hoe. She ain't gotten. I only speak nowadays. I only speak when spoken to, whether it's a female or whether it's a dude. I only speak when spoken to. If you want a hi, a goodbye, a thank you from me, you better be the first to jump to say something. Otherwise, I'm gonna act like I didn't even see you, because I'm just fed up with human beings, and quite frankly, I wouldn't mind if a fucking meteor came from outer space and just wiped this planet off the face of the fucking universe. Cause I'm sick of people and their bullshit, their hypocrisy, their lunacy, their ludicrous. Their political correctness. I'm just sick of it. It don't matter the race, it don't matter the gender. The older I get, the more and more I don't want to be around you fools. I just don't. Cause and just recently was a prime example of why I say that. Everybody's with me. Everybody's with me. Then I say something about this Pookie and Ray Ray degenerate, Deontay Wilder, and now all of a sudden, oh, you a coon. Oh, I knew Brian Solange was phony and fake. Yet I'm the only Negro that consistently is not doing one thing. And what is that one thing that I'm not doing? Begging y'all for money. I give the option for you to donate money if you want to, become a Patreon member if you want to, but I'm actually giving you stuff for your money. Okay? I'm not begging you every day with all the financial problems that I fucking have. I'm not begging you for your fucking money. I could, but I'm not. Because that's not the type of guy I am. You know, it's not that I particularly feel bad about not doing it. I'm just not doing it. Because I feel like a real man earns his own fucking bread. If you want to compensate me, you know, if you want to, you know, donate to me because you appreciate the content, then fine. But all these other Negroes that are much bigger than me, like Tommy, like Umar Johnson, like Tariq Nasheed, like Cynthia G. Paris Milan, these people are damn near making millions off of phony ass canned speeches, just feeding people what they want to hear. Paris Milan hasn't produced a video in over 2 weeks because she's too busy living and profiting off of the money, and now she even has more followers. She has the thirsty black male simps, but now she has the wannabe swirlers because now she's promoting swirling on her fucking channel. So she's making so much money, she only got to produce a video once every 2 weeks, maybe even once a month. You know, she's living fat. That's the only reason she came on YouTube. She said it was a career from the beginning, right? Now she's found her angle. So anyway, guys, yeah. You know, I do think racism was involved in this incident. I don't think it was the only thing that was involved in this incident. I think it was just, you know, this brother, you know, going through just the difficult phase of what we call life and putting up with people's bullshit, and it finally got to him. But anyway, thanks so much for listening. Check that link out in the description box about the booger bear that was going off on the Arabs. That's also in the pinned post. Link in the pinned post. I'm tired of hearing that fucking bell sound. But thanks so much, and talk to you later, guys.